Have you ever noticed someone who barely talks, but when they do, everyone stops and listens? They don't try hard. They don't tell the best stories, but people remember them. People want to talk to them again. Then there's you. You share more. You work harder at conversations. But people forget what you said 5 minutes later. Their minds wander while you're still talking. Something's missing and you can't figure out what. Here's the secret. It's not about talking more or being funnier. It's about having power in your words. And that power comes from knowing when to talk and when to stay quiet. Most people think being liked means doing more, be funnier, smarter, more exciting. The old Stoic teachers knew better. Being magnetic isn't about adding more. It's about removing the fake stuff. Stop pretending. Stop needing everyone to like you. Stop talking just because silence makes you nervous. When you stop chasing attention, that's exactly when you get it. This isn't about tricks or games. This is about talking in a way that shows your real character. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote, "Stop arguing about what a good person should be. Just be one." Same idea here. Don't fake being interesting. Actually be interesting by how you talk and when you stay quiet. Today, I'll teach you 6 communication ideas. Each one uses specific words that make people enjoy being with you. Not because you're faking it, because you're really there in the moment. Number 4 is the one most people get completely wrong. If you're tired of talking without anyone really listening, let's start. Hashtag phrase 1. What else can you tell me? 4 words. Simple words. But watch what happens. Someone says they just joined a book club. Most people jump in right away with their own story. "Oh, I was in a book club last year. Let me tell you about it." Or, "You should read this book I just finished." They steal the conversation and make it about themselves. The person was opening a door to tell you something, but you walked through talking about your own house instead of looking at theirs. Now they're stuck listening to you talk about something they didn't ask about. They're waiting politely for you to stop so they can try again or just give up. You do it differently. They mention the book club. You say, "What else can you tell me?" Then you stop. You actually listen. Not the fake listening where you're just planning what to say next. Real listening, where you actually care about what comes next. Here's what happens. They light up. Why? Because most people spend their whole lives waiting for someone to actually want to hear them. Not just waiting for their turn to talk. Not pretending to care while thinking about lunch. Really wanting to know. This only works if you really mean it. You can't fake real interest. People feel the difference between fake attention and real attention. If you don't actually care, don't ask. Quiet is better than fake interest. But when you really do want to know more, those 4 words open everything up. They talk longer. They go deeper. They share stuff they usually don't share because nobody usually cares about the answer. Here's what people miss. They won't remember what you said. They'll remember how they felt. Feeling heard is rare. Feeling like someone actually wants to understand you instead of just waiting to talk. That's even more rare. When they walk away from that talk, they don't think, "Wow, that person was so cool." They think, "Wow, I felt cool talking to them." That feeling makes them want to talk to you again. An old Stoic teacher named Epictetus told his students, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we talk." He understood that listening isn't just sitting there. It's active. It's where real friendship starts. You're not there to impress people. You're there to be interested. And real, calm interest in what someone else is saying pulls people in. In a world where everyone's showing off, just listening makes you stand out. Watch what changes. Talks go deeper faster. People open up to you in ways they don't with others. You become the person they look for when they want to discuss something real. Not because you gave great advice, because you made them feel heard. Hashtag phrase 2. I'm not sure. 3 words that scare most people. Someone asks what you think about something you don't know about. Your first thought is to fake it. Make up something that sounds smart. Give a vague answer that could mean anything. Dance around the fact that you have no idea, because admitting you don't know feels weak, like you're less than others, like you should know this, and something's wrong with you if you don't. But watch what really happens when someone fakes knowing something. They're asked about a topic they don't understand. Instead of being honest, they make up an opinion. And you can tell. The answer sounds empty. Words that seem right but mean nothing. They're faking confidence. Now you're thinking, if they'll fake being sure about this, what else are they faking? Can I trust anything they say? Faking knowledge doesn't make them look smart. It makes them look scared, like they need you to think they know everything. Now watch a confident person. Same question. They pause. Then, I'm not sure. That's it. No explanation for why they don't know. No apology. No switching to something they do know. Just 3 calm words, like it's not a problem that there's something they're not an expert on. And right away you trust them more. Because if they're honest about what they don't know, they're probably honest about what they do know. When they are certain about something, it actually means something. They're not performing. They're just being straight. This is what the old Greek teacher Socrates meant when he said, I know that I don't know much. It wasn't fake humility. It was understanding that wisdom starts with admitting what you don't know. Scared people need to seem smart about everything. Confident people are comfortable saying, I'm not sure. Their value isn't tied to having every answer. They're secure enough to admit when they don't have one. Here's what changes when you start being honest with these 3 words. People relax around you. They're not competing with your ego anymore. And when you do speak with certainty, when you really know what you're talking about, they listen. Because you've shown you don't just say things to sound smart. You say things because they're true. Your words carry weight because you've proven you'll admit when they don't. ## phrase 3. That sounds really hard. Someone shares a problem with you. Work is crushing them. Their family stuff is messy. They're exhausted trying to keep it all together. Your first instinct, what everyone does, is jump straight to solutions. Have you tried? What if you just? When I dealt with that, You think you're helping. You're not. You're actually dismissing them. What they heard wasn't here's help. It was this is easy. Why haven't you figured it out? Most people don't share problems because they want you to fix them. They share because they need someone to listen. They've been carrying something heavy, and just saying it out loud to someone who actually listens makes it lighter. When you jump to solutions, you're telling them their struggle isn't that hard. That if they just did this obvious thing you thought of in 5 seconds, the problem they've lived with for months would disappear. Now they feel worse. They still have the problem. Plus now they feel dumb for not solving it with your simple solution. Watch what happens instead when you say, that sounds really hard. 3 words. You're not fixing it. You're not making it smaller. You're not comparing it to your own problems. You're just saying that what they're going through is tough. That simple recognition, that their struggle is real, gives them something they don't get anywhere else. Permission to feel how they feel without having to defend it or solve it right now. They keep talking because you didn't shut them down with advice. You made room for them to think out loud. And thinking out loud with someone who's not trying to fix you is how most people actually figure out what to do. Not from your solution. From hearing themselves while you listen without judging. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be gentle with others and tough on yourself." Most people do the opposite. They're tough on others. Just do this. It's not that hard. And gentle with themselves when they struggle. Real strength is being patient with other people's hard times while holding yourself to high standards. When someone shares a problem, they don't need you to be tough on them. They need understanding. That what's hard for them is hard, even if it wouldn't be hard for you. Here's what changes. People start bringing you real problems. Not surface stuff, deep stuff, because you've shown you won't immediately try to fix them or make their feelings seem small. You'll just listen and validate. You become someone safe, someone trusted, not because you have all the answers, because you don't pretend to. ## phrase 4. Staying quiet. Most people fear silence. A pause happens and they panic. They fill it with words, any words, comments about nothing, stories nobody asked for, talk that adds nothing, because silence feels like failure, like the conversation is dying and it's your job to save it with more talking. So you talk, and the more you talk, the less anyone listens, because words without meaning are just noise. You've trained everyone that your words are noise, constant, low level, easy to ignore. Now watch someone comfortable with quiet. They're in a group. Everyone's talking. They're silent. Not because they have nothing to say, because nothing worth saying has shown up yet. Someone asks them a question. They don't answer right away. They pause. 2-3 seconds. They actually think about what they'll say. Then they speak. One clear point. Done. Everyone listens. Because the silence before they spoke made everyone lean in. The pause signaled, what's coming matters. When they finish, they don't fill the space after. They let the statement land. Let others respond or let silence just sit there. Here's what that quiet does. It creates weight. When you speak rarely, your words have force. When you're okay with quiet, people get uncomfortable with it around you. They fill it. And when they fill it, they show you who they really are. You learn more about someone from what they say to fill awkward silence than in an hour of normal talk. They show you who they are when uncomfortable, their patterns, their fears, what they're really thinking versus what they show when comfortable. But this only works if your silence is comfortable. If you're sitting there anxious, desperate for someone to talk, they feel it. Your discomfort makes them uncomfortable. But if you're genuinely at peace with quiet, if you don't need constant talking to feel okay, that calm spreads. They relax. And relaxed people are honest. A Stoic writer named Seneca wrote, "Silence is learned from life's many hard times." He knew that people who talk constantly are often running from something. Their own thoughts, the weight of what they've lived through, the discomfort of just being with themselves. But people who've sat with real hard times learn that silence isn't empty. It's full of presence, attention, and just being without needing to prove you're interesting every 30 seconds. When you master this, when you're genuinely okay not speaking unless you have something worth saying, watch what happens. In groups, people start looking at you when they want a real opinion. Because you don't waste words on safe takes and obvious comments. When you speak, it's because you actually have something to add. One-on-one talks go deeper because you're not filling every pause with surface talk. You're letting silence do the work. Silence is where people go deep. They say things in the quiet they'd never say in constant chatter. This isn't about being cold or holding back. It's about being present enough that you don't need words to fill space. Your presence is enough. And that presence, that rare comfort with just being, pulls people in. Hashtag phrase 5. I value you. Not thank you. Not thanks for helping. Not I appreciate what you did. Those are about trades. They recognize actions. Jobs done. Tasks finished. Someone helps you move furniture. You say thanks. Someone covers your work shift. You say you appreciate it. The action. The thing they did for you. But I value you. Those 3 words do something different. They recognize the person, not what they did, who they are. Watch the difference. Your friend shows up when things are tough. Again, like they always do. You could say, thanks for being there. That's fine. Polite. Correct. But it's about the action being there. Now say, I value you. You're not thanking them for showing up this time. You're recognizing that they're the kind of person who always shows up. That's character. And you're saying you see it. You see them, not just what they do for you. Who they are when nobody's asking them to be anything. People are desperate for this. The world treats them as tools. At work, they're what they produce. At home, they're what they provide. They're constantly measured by output, by what they do. And somewhere deep inside, they're starving for someone to see past the doing and recognize the being. To say, I see who you are, not just what you've done. And who you are matters to me. This phrase doesn't work if you throw it around everywhere. I value you for passing the salt. No, It loses all power. Save it for real moments. When someone shows you consistency. When you notice their character, not just their actions. Your coworker stays late to help you finish a project. Don't just say, "Thanks for staying." Say, "I value you. You always show up when it matters." Now you're not recognizing the late night. You're recognizing their reliability. The pattern. The person. Marcus Aurelius started each day thinking about the people around him. Not what they did for him. Who they were. He wrote about how precious it is just to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love. He knew that recognizing someone's existence, their character, their value as a human beyond what they can do for you, that's rare. And rare things are valuable. When you're the person who sees people, not just their actions, you become rare too. And people want to be around rare. Here's what changes when you start saying this and really meaning it. People become loyal. Not because you're useful to them, because you make them feel seen. In a world that reduces everyone to what they produce, you're the person who sees them as complete humans, flawed, consistent, worthy of recognition just for who they are. That's magnetic. Not in a fake way, in a human way. We all want to be seen. Most of us never are. When someone actually sees us, not what we do, but who we are, we don't forget that person. Use it rarely. Mean it completely. And watch what happens when people realize you're not just thanking them for their work. You're recognizing their character. That recognition creates bonds that simple trades never could. Hashtag phrase 6. No. One word. The hardest one to say. Someone asks for your time, your energy, your presence at something you don't want to attend. Your instinct is to say yes. Or maybe. Or invent an excuse that sounds good enough that they can't argue. Anything except the simple truth. No. Because no feels harsh. Feels like rejection. Feels like you're being difficult or unreasonable. So you say yes to things you don't want to do with people you don't want to see, at times that don't work for you. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you teach people your time has no value. That you're available to everyone for everything. That your boundaries don't exist. Watch what happens to people who can't say no. They're exhausted, resentful, overcommit to things they don't care about while having no energy left for what matters. Their calendar is full. Their life is empty because they gave all their time to other people's priorities and kept none for their own. And people don't respect them more for being available. They respect them less. Because someone who says yes to everything is saying their own time isn't valuable enough to protect. And if you don't value it, why would anyone else? Now watch someone who can say no. Someone asks them to do something. They pause. Actually think about whether they want to do it. If they don't, no, I can't. That's it. No long apology. No made-up excuse about being busy. No, maybe next time that leaves the door open for future pressure. Just no. Simple, clear, final. The person asking might be surprised. Might even be annoyed. But they respect it. Because this person just showed something rare. They know what their time is worth and they protect it. Your yes only matters when your no is real. If you say yes to everything, your yes means nothing. It's not a choice. It's just your automatic response. But when people know you can say no, when they've heard you set boundaries before, your yes becomes valuable. When you show up, they know it's because you chose to be there. Not because you're too weak to refuse. Epictetus taught, first learn what your words mean, then speak. Most people say yes without thinking what it means. It means your time, your energy, your presence, all limited resources. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that matters. You just didn't say the no out loud. You said it silently to yourself, to your goals, to the things you claim matter but never have time for because you're too busy saying yes to everyone else. Here's what changes when you start saying no honestly. People stop assuming you're available. They think more carefully about what they ask from you. And when you do say yes, they value it because they know it's a real choice, not a weak surrender. You take back your time, your energy, your ability to focus on what actually matters. instead of being scattered across 100 obligations you never wanted. Say no without apology, without excuse, without softening it with false maybes. Your time is yours. Protect it. And watch how much more people value your presence when they realize it's not guaranteed to everyone for everything. Boundaries don't push people away. They attract the ones worth keeping and filter out the ones who only wanted you because you couldn't refuse them. ## the real secret. These 6 principles, curiosity, honesty, validation, silence, recognition, and boundaries, they're not tricks. They're character made visible through how you talk. And character, that's what actually attracts people. Not your words. Who you are when you speak them. The Stoics understood. Attraction isn't about adding more. It's about taking away the fake stuff. Stop trying to impress people. Stop filling every silence. Stop saying yes when you mean no. The moment you stop performing is the moment people start paying attention. Not to what you say, to who you are when you say it. The most attractive thing you can do? Stop trying to be attractive. Just be present. Everything else follows.